For those of you who've been into PC gaming for a while now, you guys are most probably familiar with the computer component known as the graphics card. But if you're just starting out in computer gaming, there is no surprise to know that you guys absolutely have no knowledge of what this is. If you're doing everyday tasks such as sending email or simply just browsing the internet, this might not be an issue to you. But when it comes to gaming, video editing, and other graphic related tasks, you might need one of these. But do you actually need a graphic card? And if yes, what do you need to aim for when you go to the market to buy one for your own? I'm gonna answer those questions and many more, because this is a GPU 101 where I answer all your questions and give you a clear concept of what is a graphic card and how it actually works. So to start it off, let me tell you what is actually a graphics card. To make it simple and make it short, graphic card is just like another computer, but in a small compact form that can actually fit inside your motherboard. What a graphic card does, it actually processes all of your graphic related work. That is, if you're playing games, for example, it is gonna process all your game's texture, all your graphical animations, all that is graphic related, that is happening and displaying on your monitor is being processed by your graphics card. So why do you need a graphics card? In most cases, when you're playing video games or doing other graphic related tasks, your CPU and RAM are under extreme usage because it is running the application one, and second, you are performing various functions on that application. So your CPU and RAM are processing it as well. If you don't have a graphic card, all that load goes on to your CPU and RAM, which in turn has extreme overload, and then your application either crashes or lags extremely. So in those cases, you really need to have a graphic card. But now, what does my computer actually do in a game? Well, the answer is really simple. When you're playing a game, your CPU or your processor is actually in charge of running that game and performing all of the functions that you are giving input through your keyboard and your mouse. For example, if you're playing GTA 5 or any other third-person perspective game, you press the W key to go forward. As you're pressing the W key, that command is going through the wires to your computer, where the CPU actually translates it and your character in the game starts moving forward. All these are being handled by your processor or your CPU. As you all know, that RAM is also a form of memory, but an extremely fast one. So when you run any game, all the game's assets are loaded onto the RAM so that the RAM can quickly fetch all those assets and all those objects when you go to interact to them. When you're playing modern games, most of the thing is happening in your surroundings. There's people going around, there's cars that are moving, and the wind is blowing, all the trees are there. All those are objects which are loaded onto your RAM. Now what does my graphic card do? Your graphic card actually renders all those graphical images and textures so that the game looks good, and it also shows all of those objects and all those functions as frames, which is a frame is, to put it simply, is just an image. It shows you the game in frames, and the higher the frame rate, the more smooth the game runs. For example, if I have a graphic card, my CPU is translating all my commands, my RAM is loading in all the assets, and my GPU is quickly rendering all the textures and quality, then my game appears to be running smooth. When you don't have a graphic card, this is not the case. Your RAM and CPU, even though they are translating all your inputs and showing you the output and also loading in all those objects, they also have to do the work of a graphic card. That in turn puts lots of load onto the CPU and RAM, which in turn slows down your game, and your game starts to lag and at a point even crash. Which is, I know it's a really hard place to be, but you can check out my video in which I show you how to play any game on your computer by simply tweaking around with the settings and doing some things that can actually increase game performance. You guys can check the video out. I'll put the link in the description. So to put it simply, your graphic card is just a small computer which can actually go into your motherboard, which only processes all the graphic or pictorial related data, whereas all the other data is handled by your CPU and RAM. So if a graphic card is just like a computer, shouldn't it have a processor and have some RAM? Well, I had this old GPU of mine that I had lying around, and I thought it would be really great to show you guys that what is actually inside a graphics card. Okay, so this is what your graphic card actually looks like. Right now I have the NVIDIA GeForce 7900 GS, which is a card from around 2006, and this card was a really great card back at that time. This card was mostly aimed to play the games which are now considered low-end games, such as GTA San Andreas and other games which are played and don't have that much of a graphic requirement. Right now, as I told you guys, that if a graphic card is just like a computer, doesn't it have a processor as well as RAM? So let me unscrew this main metal plate which is used for cooling right now and show you guys what is actually inside a graphics card. Okay, so now after I've unscrewed all the screws on the back, as you can see, I have removed the front thermal radiator, which is used to cool the processor of the graphics card. Inside you can see all this white liquid, outside is a thermal paste. So this is actually the processor, just like the processor and RAM which we have in our computer, which are used to process all the data that is coming in from the devices. This is used to process the graphics data only. What you are seeing right here, these small chips, these are actually the RAM of the graphics card. So anytime you go to a shop and you ask how much GB is this graphic card, and they reply, but yeah, this is a 2 GB graphic card, this is a 4 GB graphic card. Actually, all those 2, 4, 6 and 8 GB stand for the RAM. It tells you how much RAM your graphic card actually has. All these other are transistors which are used to, run this graphic card. As you can see on the side, we have the display ports. This is actually a DVI port, 2 DVI ports, and one old school PS/2 port, which is actually outdated by 2020. This is a card that was launched in 2006, and by those standards, this card was an absolute beast. Now, when you look at a graphic card, there are some things that you might take into consideration. In this graphic card, there is a 6-pin connector. This 6-pin connector means that it requires external voltage and will not work only on the PCI slot. In your power supply, there will always be a 6-pin or 8-pin connector depending on your power supply. If you have a 350 watt or 400 watt power supply, you'll always have a 6-pin connector with your power supply that you can connect onto here. In some graphics card, it's going to be on top of here. What you're seeing right here, this chip, this is actually known as an SLI bridge. This SLI bridge is used to connect two graphic cards. For example, if you have two cards and you want to connect them, so what you need to do, you have to buy an SLI bridge, connect one here and the second to the other, and then you can enjoy two graphic cards at once. This right here at the bottom is known as a PCI Express slot. So this actually goes onto your PCI Express slot that is onto your motherboard, and it is usually mounted horizontally like this onto your computer. So this is all that you need to know physically for a graphic card.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope you guys liked it and learned something from it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video with those friends of yours whom you think this guide is suitable for. And also, let me know in the comment section down below, do you have a graphic card or not? And if yes, what do you use it for? And I'll be signing off for now, and I'll be back with another awesome, amazing video for you guys. So, peace out, gamers.